I've done so many readings, I don't even know which one this is or if this is going to get posted or not. But I'm just sitting here, minding my own business and flipping cards. So this is the third video I think I made. Hopefully this one doesn't cut me off and say storage full, even though it's completely empty. Jerks. The last one I did was with the fairies. So let's do one with tarot. And I have no idea what this is for or why or whatever. I'm just having fun. I like cards. Knight of Swords and Temperance. Can you see it? Can you? No, you can't. Okay, you saw it. Now hold your ponies while I shuffle. I'm just gonna grab, I don't know, however many cards came up in this shuffle. Can you see it? There we go. There's one. Ah. Oh no, we don't want this energy here. Shoot. Shoot. We got 4 of Swords, 3 of Swords. Knight of Swords, dang, and Temperance. Okay, what, this is all nice and dandy, but what's the advice? Oh. Again? Goodness my gracious. Alright, look. I'm not going to make this reading take long, because really, this is so overdone already. Someone wants to tell you something. They want peace. They've had a lot of time to think it over, and they're really fucking sorry for how they treated you. You really are important to them, and they really, 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 really care about you. They just don't know how to come towards you to say anything to you because they feel like shit for what they did to you. That's one scenario, okay? Because there's a 2 of Cups right here, there's 6 of Cups, there's 2 cups being poured there, and then there's a lot of thought about pain and healing. And then what could have been, what should have been, and blah, blah, blah. And then somebody coming in like a knight in shining armor trying to bring a message of, you know, transformation. Because there's butterflies. Whatever that butterfly means to you, that could be like King Arthur on a sword or death itself and being like, yeah, I'm gonna get everybody. Like, no, 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 no. The Knight of Swords is an aspect within you. In another way where, in another interpretation of this, that it doesn't involve anybody else. Wow, this feels really impatient. Like, it feels like, like you figured something out and you're riding out of this mist of confusion and you want to share this information with someone or something else, but you know there's still silence and still a little bit of healing you need to do, because this card would not be here if you weren't feeling this. Especially next to the 6 of Cups, which is about soulmate connections in the past and blah blah blah. And then the 4 of Cups, like, you're thinking about what was, and the 2 missing cups, and you're like, oh, it was so great, but the 2 missing cups are still right here, and they're waiting for you. There's your king, with an offer that he will even bring to you. Look, I don't know what you're doing in your personal life or how many different people you're involved with that each seem to be tugging on your heartstrings in some way and making promises that they don't really intend to keep, or that they do intend to keep, but there's like a delay between things. Do not let this energy influence this energy. Clear that away. Simply stop wanting to suffer. You've had enough, and you've had enough of having enough. You have suffered enough to appease the karmic sins of an entire planet. Quit carrying the burden of other people's drama and suffering in yours when the entire world has been your stage to see yourself. So everything that was done to you was being reflected through you. Your perceptions, your ideas, your beliefs, your gods, your world. To them, it was just something. To this other aspect of you, to this different personality of you, to the thought patterns you've had, it was simply an acknowledgement of what you are, like self-criticism that put you into a position of healing because you acknowledged something needed to be healed. But in doing so, you've gone and, found a nerve within yourself that has reminded you of how much grief you've actually carried over the thing you actually want. But you can't have this if you're like this. Dolphins are very telepathic beings. They're very intelligent, and I think they're known as record keepers. Record keeper. Record keeper. Deliverer of the messages within the records being kept. Integration of the messages being delivered from the records. Acknowledgement of the role you played, the role someone else played, and the role someone else played. Or the role that your thoughts played on your body, which played on your emotions. Which brings you to realizing how much you actually want to experience life in a more positive way, whether by yourself or with others. But in order to do so, you have to stop wanting to suffer. When that feeling comes up that says, in the most sweetest, it's like I don't even want to feel it. It's like your eyes start burning and your throat starts closing up and you can't really breathe and you just want to cry. Like your chest starts tingling and you get goosebumps or whatever, and you feel like you're in between a moment in time and a moment in time that never happened or never could happen, or that you aren't good enough for it to happen. And then there's like this clashing of waves and thunder inside you that brings you to this like torrential storm of tears. That's got to stop. Leave that to the Pisces. We can handle the depths of grief and sorrow, and the other fish will come and flip us out of there by telling us, quit it, quit suffering. Like, no one can get to you to help you because you are so powerful in what you do and what you feel that it's like coming through the eye, like getting to the hurricane to get to the eye of the storm. And you're sitting there thinking nobody wants to get to you. But you're not realizing in order to get to you, people have to come to you in such a way that is reflected through your vibration. If you're in this grief state, this knight in shining armor is going to look to you like he's coming to chop your head off. But if you're in this state, this knight in shining armor can seem like he's coming, or he or she is coming to you to give you really bad messages and tell you to move, get off your ass and go do something. Like, quit whining about the past, quit being so spoiled, and quit thinking you failed at everything and that nothing's worth it in the future. But if you're in this state of mind and this Knight of Swords is coming towards you, you're probably going to think he's coming with a marriage proposal. But because of the way you perceive your reality and the healing that you haven't let happen in you, that you refuse to acknowledge that maybe already has happened, and you're actually fine and you're just addicted to feeling sad and, fearful and digging for information that keeps hurting you, and you're like, why is the world so fucked up? Because you keep looking at the fucked up parts. Like, what do you want? The world to wipe its ass for you so you can look at its asshole in a way and say, oh, that's a clean asshole. Like, excuse my, my bluntness with this, but I'm really feeling this right now. Like, you're wasting your life being sad or acknowledging that you were broken, or like as if that's even possible. Or acknowledging that you were cheated on or whatever. Like, you cheated on yourself first before you ever cheated on anybody else or been cheated on. You cheated on yourself first because you took your own cups of mind and body and spirit and you poured them into people that didn't want them because they wanted you to have them and you thought they were rejecting you. But those were your cups. The cups you share with them are different. They're the additional cups to the cups you already have. You were thinking that they needed to take your Ace of Cups. No, babe, no. You keep your cup, and you are given another one by the universe to share together. That way, when you're together and you're by yourselves or separate, you still have your cup intact because you know better. No more of this. And if you see someone else going through this, or you know of someone going through this, do them a favor and come at them. Come at me, bro. And communicate with them bluntly. They will not listen to airy, fairy, romantic talk. They won't do it. They're already lost in that wavelength of sorrow. Everything to them in that state of grief seems like it's beautiful poetry. Like their pain, their blood, their grief, their tears are just this, nectar of the gods of pain. Like they won't hear you. They'll romanticize everything. And you can't expect them to be doing this because the hormonal response and the chemical factory going off inside them because of this is too addicting. No one would choose to be in this state unless they enjoy it. It's like putting your hand on a hot stove. You're going to take your hand off of it before you even feel the heat to be high enough to burn you. Like you're not even going to want to put your hand on that. But people who thrive with suffering can't tell that it's pain. They think that's who they are. So when they go inside to meditate, they find this. Because they don't have that common sense, blunt bop to the head saying, knock it off. Knock it off. You're not this. You're not this. You were this. You're not this. And this fucker doesn't matter. Because he's been waiting for you to fill your own cup, just like he's waiting with his cup. So whenever your cup is full and you stop trying to give your cup to him, he will come to you. Because he's been waiting for you on that boat, in that water, while you're sitting on shore waiting for him. He can't get to you. You're on a cliff with nowhere to dock. So you need to go to him or her. And if you both are ready, the path will be made open to you. But each of you has to hold your own cup. Then you can share a cup together. And he will come and meet you halfway as much as you can. Like the king gets off his throne, gets on a horse. As soon as they meet on a cliff somewhere where they can both meet, passions are ignited, a new lust for life, and so much energy to move forward. Like you realize that you're just as powerful and strong as any king or queen or any knight. We have the Knight of Water, the Knight of Air, and the Knight of Fire. What's missing? The stability, the common sense, the slow and steady knowing that all is well. Scales have been balanced and you are free to stop suffering. Now we have the King of Swords with the Knight of Swords. The King of Cups with the Knight of Cups. Seven of Wands saying you don't want to hear more, but you're probably gonna because you kind of want to. New chapter in your life happening, and in the Wheel of Fortune, either trampling you underneath it like a horse with a rider that is off to see someone. Or it can speed you along. It just depends on what you're used to. And if you're used to this, that wheel and that justice is not going to seem nice to you. But if you're used to this, the deep knowing inside you that you're better than this, you're more like this. And where is that? Look. You know better. You know better. Imagine these people, these cards, as people. Someone crying. Someone sitting next to them and wallowing in their emotions together. An angel watching over them, making sure that they're both okay. The entire universe at hand, balancing the scales so that the suffering and need for suffering has been removed. Someone at the gates not allowing new information to come in or a sense of victory, so an aspect of yourself that's sabotaging you. But the door is being opened and offered to all these people to have a better life, but they're not even noticing it. They're just looking away. And you're trying to bring all this silence to them and this peace and information, but they keep going back to being poverty-stricken and wanting to be helped. And then there is this priestess that's just sitting there in this temple with all these people going through all these different things. And she says nothing. And all she does is open a pomegranate. If this woman walked out in front of you, and the two pillars behind her lit up, and she walked on the moon, and she opened a pomegranate while holding a scroll with the moon on top of her head, what would you think? How absurd would your current problem seem compared to someone like this walking in front of you? And if someone like this is walking in front of you, don't you see that that is also within you? Otherwise, how's it going to be reflected back at you? It has to be in you first. You can't paint with colors that you don't have. Somebody bringing you a message, you not really listening to it and still feeling like you're trapped in your head. Look. Wands. More cups. You're like, I don't even want to deal with this anymore. I've had it. Lost so much, who cares anymore? You. You can give up all you want. Secretly, we all know you still love somebody and you still want to do something. You have a passion for something. And you just play with it and you're like, whatever. But again, you're standing on that fucking cliff looking over the distance, wondering if happily ever after is going to get to you. It's on its way. And look, here is the Six of Wands. 10 of Cups, the Empress and the Moon. The Hierophant, good God. I feel like I'm at a royal wedding. I don't know. Like I'm at a royal wedding and there's this bride crying because she feels like she's not good enough for her husband. And her husband's like freaking out because he thinks he's not good enough for her. And then there's all these people involved trying to bring you two together, maybe these two aspects of yourself. But in order to really feel it, you got to have your own boundaries. Otherwise, you're going to think you're all these people. And then all these fragmented versions of yourself are all fragmented. But with boundaries, healthy boundaries, you can put all of these aspects of you within one totality and give birth to a new you. But you really seem to be addicted to wanting to be wronged, wanting to have been deceived, being, look at it, remember how these came out? It was like this, I think. 10 of Cups, the Empress, or the other way around, and then the Moon, the Hermit, the Five of Wands. You know what the problem is. You've been inside yourself, you know. You know you have a desire for conflict. It's like an itching, like a kung fu fighter that constantly wants to fight, or a boxer that wants to box. You have a need to suffer. And it could be through energies you're perceiving. It could be through television things you're looking at. It could be things, you know, theories and conspiracy theories you're digging into, and they're just making you so afraid. But you know none of it has anything to do with you. None of it. It's a reality that you can easily jump out of and already have every moment of the day that you're feeling fine. But there comes that one moment in the night where you're like, I wonder what's going on in that world. And you peep into it. And you're looking into this like night sky and all this suffering and this gloom and doom and all these lies and deceit. And this like, maybe there's a woman, a mother in your life that's really not that kind or honest to herself. Like she doesn't really see herself as the goddess that she is. Or maybe there's a woman in your life, or a mother figure, or an essence in you, or the goddess waking up in you and bringing you to a version of yourself that you're afraid of. This could be somebody going through transitioning. This could be somebody going through a life, you know, transition. This could be someone that's going through a common sense transition and epiphany. Like you're realizing who you truly are and that you can't play small anymore. Which is really funny because the pixie reading I was doing had the same concept. Someone wanting to be who they are but not acting like it. And here is the Queen of Wands. Please be careful with people and their negative talk of you. Okay? This really, 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 really has the static electrical feel of depression. It feels like someone has put a dark blanket over you, and you thought that that dark blanket that covered you was who you are. Like somebody put a curse or a jinx or, you know, ill intent towards your name or your family or a picture of you or something. And you've had a streak of kind of bad luck, or, you know, there's been a spell that's been cast that's been causing this like dark fog of depression among people. And you have to shake it off. You have to shake it off. You have to look at it from a distance. You are not your pain. And I don't know if it's one person doing weird black magic-y things, or, you know, just thinking bad thoughts about you, or even in their good intentions, they're like worried about you, but they're sending you worrying energy. In situations like that, where someone is in a way conducting an energy transfer that isn't permitted, they would benefit from it while you would suffer for it, and neither of you would know that the other one did it, because you both are lost in your thoughts in that Four of Swords over there. You're both quiet and with the Hermit. And if it is somebody intentionally screwing with you, you have the Moon on your side and the Empress. Like the same light that can illuminate the darkest places can illuminate the darkest faces. The same lies that were said to you or spread about you can be used, that same energy, to track back to where it started. But again, you do not want to cause drama in your life just because you want something to do to feel inspired and passionate and excited. You can go have sex for that. You can masturbate. You can, you know, whatever. Like you're a creature of pleasure. You shouldn't find pleasure in conflict. Tension and conflict is only required, or tension is required in creation. Like you have to feel what you're feeling, you have to maintain it, and then you have to let it go and bring it back and let it blah, 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 blah. Don't get lost in other people's wands and their thoughts and their opinions. Do not allow other people to screw with you in any way, because you need to have those healthy boundaries. Two Queens and an Empress. What else is over here? The Lovers, Six of Pentacles. Oh, there's the King of Pentacles. We have a pair. Ta-da! Now, make certain that when you're interacting with your match, whether it's your own sense of self or someone else, that you're not projecting onto them your pointless and needless need to suffer. Don't look at them and think that they're going to do to you what the last one did, or if it's an ex coming back and you're like, oh, we went through all this and we're back together. Don't blame each other for what happened. You both played a part in it. You both threw each other to the wolves. You both left each other behind. You both left and transformed in a way and dug into your addictions and all the reasons why you needed to suffer and feel grief and run away and allow it all to fall apart and etc., etc. You guys both weren't ready for what you're ready for now. And both of you can have exactly what you both want with each other. You just can't keep saying, you did this and you did that. You have to go and, well, mind you, when I say you have to go and you need to do this and all that stuff, the way I say it, most of it isn't really from me. It's the amplified, the what is that called? The way I feel the energy. I can't translate it in a different way. It's almost like it's very adamant about what the proper path is for you because you haven't been listening. Like you're getting closer and closer to these doors and these pathways, and you're not acknowledging that you're still carrying all this nastiness with you. That's why your guides and the universe coming through is like being, blunt. The way you've lived your life has to go. Admit it to yourself, you haven't been living a healthy lifestyle. For you, not by what they say, for you. The way your life is, the way you exist, it hasn't been authentic to you. Because you were whining and whining and whining about this. I mean, really, how many years can you suffer over someone that walked away from you? How many years has that person suffered because you walked away from them in such a harsh way? How much pain has occurred in all these lives of all these people you're involved with? Because communication was withheld due to a crown of arrogance. A crown not made for a king or a queen, but a tyrant. Thought patterns that didn't bloom anything other than strangling thorns, kind of. I don't see this card as a positive card right now. I see this card as a bitch slap from the universe. The people you suffered over didn't really suffer over you that much. And the people that suffered because of you greatly, what you didn't do compounded the problems they faced. And that's what you, at its core, need to be responsible for. The things that happen in these people's lives or in these aspects of your own life, God, look at this mess. You were also responsible. All of this web of deception and deceit and all of this bull over he did, she did, blah, blah, blah. And it's almost like each side was too arrogant to think the other side was at fault or whatever. Like they had any part to play in it. And the person, the aspect of yourself that really suffered was the aspect of yourself that used to be really, really happy. I don't know if I'm going to post this. This is a... I just heard, how many times do I have to tell you the same message? It feels like a fed up parent Look, I don't know what you've done, and I don't know how this has played out in your life or how this would play out in your life, depending on how you use this message as a metaphor for different parts of your own life. I simply don't know, and I really don't want to know about your personal life in that way. What I am going to say is, with the energy that I'm feeling here, the messages that have come through, someone in your circle of friends, in your close group, could be your very self, because tarot in most aspects is about you and how you perceive the world. So if someone in the world is doing it to you, then you have it within yourself and you're denying it. So you, in some way, have caused someone else so much pain and refuse to acknowledge how much you suffered because of it too. Not because of what they did to you, but because of what you did to them and the kindness of your heart telling you that you did something wrong and you should right it. You didn't listen to that, and you both suffered greatly. Just about you yourself now. You didn't listen to the part of yourself that told you, I don't want to hurt anymore. And the next time you felt that neural pathway coming through and saying, oh, it's time to cry, you didn't stop it. You didn't love yourself enough to protect the body you're in from feeling sorrow. Yes, it's okay to feel all the emotions. It's not okay to suffer in them. Take responsibility for what you did. The people that treated you the way they treated you that way because you were doing it to yourself as well. If I applied this to the whole world, like, how much more are you guys going to pretend that someone else knows better for you? How much more of your life are you going to tell other people what choices to make in regards to their own freedom? How much more are you going to be suffering and afraid and sharing the information that makes you afraid, thinking that you're doing something good, when what you should be doing and how you should be handling things for yourself is on a very spiritual, energetic level, to bring things into alignment from the outside in, instead of thinking that you can fiddle with the Jenga pile that we've created from the inside out. You can't change it from the inside. You can't force it from the outside, but you can change the energy that it utilizes. That could be a tidal wave. That could have been a hurricane. That could have been a meteor strike. That could have been a torrential firestorm from the ground up. But no, it's electricity from the planets, the stars, universe, God. The masculine force, the electrical force being pulled into the feminine force by gravity onto the earth, Mother Earth, and the towers you had built struck down and the crown of arrogance removed, so that you could see that you were nothing more than a hollow tube full of anger, that you made someone else hurt because you didn't realize how cruel you'd become. It's never just about black and white and good or evil, because the people doing evil things think they're doing good things. It's about each individual heart weighing itself based on its own moral standing. No one stands at these scales with you but you, so no one else's opinions about you or how the world should be should matter. Only yours. If you were your own God, would you be proud of how you've treated the people in your life? Because God's not going to judge you. You're going to judge yourself. And if you've been so unkind to yourself in the mortal world, how are you going to treat yourself when you're a limitless being? You'd probably put yourself in another hell dimension to make yourself suffer some more. And before that happens, before you walk away with that Seven of Swords, to stab yourself repeatedly with thoughts of horrible, pain from the past, and, you know, he did this, she did that, I did this, they did that, you know, and hurting yourself with it. Before you get to that, the universe is saying, enough is enough. Love yourself enough to be your own parent that comes in and grabs your hand and say, are you all right? Do you need anything? Admit the truth to yourself. If to no one else, you took something that belonged to someone and you justified it based on arrogance, and you stopped allowing yourself to feel what you did. The King of Pentacles can be a very cruel king. The King of Wands usually doesn't, you know, explodes in a fire and burns off and leaves. King of Water will play sadistic mind games. King of Air will fucking gaslight you beyond belief and hold everything against you until the end of time. But this douchebag, he'll tear your sunshine away from you and the very clothes off your back, and then look at you and just walk the other way, smiling. Because in some way, when we justify the pain we felt as if someone else did them to us first, we can find reason to do any horrible behavior and steal whatever you want and get away with it. Because they deserve it, right? What have you done to yourself that you use that same mentality on?